Welcome to the Fun with Friends podcast, hosted by me, Allie, featuring my friends. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Fun with Friends podcast. I'm your host, Allie. As you'll recall, in the last episode, we were with Tara as she traveled her way through Costa Rica. And we are continuing that trip in this week's episode as she kind of wanders around Bali and just has a good time. So buckle up and let's jump into Tara's trip to Bali. We are back. So Costa Rica was a pretty awesome trip from the sounds of it, and it went well. So from Costa Rica, you went to Bali for your Christmas trip. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about how that trip went and some of the adventures that you went on.
Man, okay, so the flight itself was ridiculous. I really didn't think that through very well. I was just trying to find within a particular set of dates, flight to Bali. So, I think I've mentioned before, I should have kind of done a couple of layovers in some places to be able to maybe explore South Korea or somewhere else, but I didn't. So it was pretty big of a beast because I basically flew on. My flight was in the morning on the 18th, and then I arrived in Bali in the evening of the 19th.
Yeah, you traveled time.
Yes. Yes.
You missed a day somewhere.
Yes. And it was a lot. It was a lot of sitting on a plane. It was not. I was at least always on a window or an aisle seat. I was never in a middle seat, but it was just never quite. I just couldn't sleep. It was not good. They try to feed you. It was just, it is hard. It was a struggle. It was a struggle. So I ended up getting to Bali and landing in Bali at 11:30 in the evening their night, so 2300. And I just made the bad decision. So what I did at first was what I learned from the Costa Rica trip is that I did not check my backpack, and I carried my backpack with me, which is fine. It wasn't as. And what I also learned from the Costa Rica trip is that I overpacked for the Costa Rica trip. And so I knew that I didn't need to bring as many things even for the Bali trip, even though it was a 10-day trip versus a 5-day trip. I was like, okay, I don't need all of these choices of shirts. No one gives a shit.
That's something I struggle with, overpacking, for sure.
I can wear this sundress every day.
No one's gonna know.
No one cares, What is appropriate for the activity? So I really focused on packing for the type of activities. I wasn't going to be hiking this time. I was going to be doing a lot of beach. So it was bathing suits, sundresses,
beach wear.
Couple of things that could be modest enough to go into temples. Mm-hmm. And that was it. And then I left room in my backpack to buy things. So as soon as I got there, I bought a Kaftan, and I bought a sari or whatever, I just bought a couple of things that I knew that I was going to need, that I knew that it would make sense to get there, and it would be something I would use while it was there, as well as something that would be a nice thing to bring back.
Yeah, it's a nice little souvenir.
Yeah. So I landed, but I was in my backpack, and I wasn't even out of the airport, and I didn't really think about it, and this guy just goes, oh, what I did do that was different actually before that is I withdrew money because the ATM situation in Bali is not like that of Costa Rica.
Okay.
So I went I withdrew $300 for US for walking around money for cabs and entrances to things and food and whatnot, which ended up in over $3 million in Indonesian RPs. So this lady counts out.
That's a fucking conversion rate.
3 million some odd plus dollars. And so I was like, no one is ever going to count out $3 million for me.
Ever again.
Unless I go to a country with this equivalent of conversion.
You got to go back to Bali just
to have somebody go, 3 million, and I can make it rain or whatever. And so I did have some walking around money. So anyway, this guy's like, hey, cab. And he's still in the hotel, in the airport. And then I realized he's not a legitimate.
He's trying to scam you.
Yeah. Well, it was a reasonable rate. Mm-hmm. It wasn't extreme. So, and I guess he was just had his own business. I don't know why they would let him inside the airport.
Yeah.
Right? Because usually if you're inside the airport, they're legitimate. I don't fucking know. Anyway, he took me, and the only thing that he warned me against, the place that I got for the hotel for the first night was right in a resort area, right near the airport, where like a lot of people will just go in that part of like the land in Bali. They'll go 2 miles from the airport and they'll just stay there and party. Right? There's a lot of people will do that. I wasn't going to stay there, but just thought, well, if I'm going to stay in a hotel, I'm going to stay in this like area that's like famous for something, and at least like look at it right before I go where else I'm going. And the only thing that the cab driver told me on the way to my hotel was, don't go to bars where there's a lot of drunk Australian men, because it's dangerous.
Thank you,
and
sir.
I thought, yeah, noted. I run into that problem in the United States.
A lot of drunk men in general.
Yeah, drunk white men. It's not good. It's not good for a single female alone.
We'll avoid that.
Yeah. So yes, toxic. Yes, I get it. Thank you, sir. But duly noted.
Toxic masculinity ruins the party again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, because then the guy goes, well, they just come over here and they want to fight with people, and we don't understand why they want to fight so much. I'm like, I don't know either. They're Australian. I don't know. And so, which is just a fun thing. The hotel was amazing. But what I learned when I got there is that in Indonesia, or I don't know, it could be in Bali. I don't know. I did not research this.
Yes.
But each toilet has a hose, like a spray hose.
Yeah.
Not a bidet.
Like,
don't get your...
like a garden hose? What are we talking about? Okay.
Yes. Very much like a garden hose.
Okay.
Full stream.
Cool.
For your butt.
Cool. I'm on board.
I don't hate the idea because...
Clean that booty.
I don't even think necessarily for just your booty. Because I feel like...
Clean your bits.
It's hot.
Do what you need to do.
It's hot. And you are sweating. And it's fucking hot there. Why not give yourself a rinse? Just give the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, stay
fresh.
fresh.
All the business.
Stay fresh.
All the business. It's sweaty.
Yeah,
Things get sweaty.
I'm not opposed.
I'm not
opposed to the garden hose.
But
in the
it's not just like a little dribble of water. It's like
full
it's
stream.
really gonna. It is a garden hose.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is the garden hose on already when you walk into the restroom, or do you have to turn it on?
It's got the ones I've seen is just like the handle.
Oh, okay, so you can turn it on and off.
Mm-hmm. Like the handle, like a garden hose.
Fascinating.
Yes, I have some video.
Also, good choice. Like I said, I'm on board with that. Yeah. Like I
spray yourself down.
Yeah,
clean that shit. It's hot. You're sweaty.
You got swass.
Clean it off.
Like
yeah,
got some swamp ass going on. Like gotta stay fresh. Gotta stay
still
clean.
Toilet paper.
I'm into it. it.
So then
we should use that in the South.
Yeah. One of the things that will probably give you a whole lot of anxiety is that when I decided where I was going to go, I booked an Airbnb. I booked the hotel at the first night. I booked an Airbnb in the middle of the island. I booked an Airbnb on the north side of the island, on the water, and then I booked a Hilton hotel, like a villa, down back on the southern side of the island, kind of south of where the airport. I did not figure out what I was going to do at any of those places, and I did not figure out how I was going to get to those places.
Yep.
Before I got there.
Yeah. So
I knew that I could just go find someone to take me to one of the places.
Yeah. So I don't know what I'm going to do.
And for the listeners, she just writhed in her seat.
I was like, no, frantically shaking my head back and forth. So like the whole what am I going to do when I get there? I'm fine with, because you can play it by ear. Like some days you just want to chill on the beach,
or you drive by a thing and you go, "What's that thing? That's amazing." They don't have a website.
I'm totally fine with that. But the not having a plan for how you're going to get there,
Yeah.
I cannot get on board.
Well, my plan was I was going to go ask somebody.
No. Like, I would need to be like, am I driving? Can I, like...
I knew I wasn't going to drive.
Like, can I
people
get my
drive on the
own
left side of the road.
driver?
People
Like,
drive on the left side of the road. I wouldn't have been able to do that.
that's one of the main reasons why I went with a tour group when I went to Scotland. Because I was like, I could totally rent my own car and just drive from place to place, but they drive on the other side of the road. Driver. But, like... yeah, I have to know like where I'm going and how I'm getting there. Those are like my primary two concerns.
So I finished with the hotel. So at the hotel that I stayed at, I went downstairs in the morning and had breakfast. And then after I finished breakfast, I just go to the front desk and I just said, do you know anybody who can help me get to somewhere else? And they were like, actually, yes, we have a concierge desk. And I go over and I said, well, I need to get to Tampashering, which is the name of the town. And I get to Tampashering. And they were like, oh, that's going to be, oh, it's this distance, this, and here's the, here's kind of where it is. You can map it on Google. We can do, whatever. And they calculated and they said, well, it's going to be this amount. Great. Where do I do? And they're like, just be down here at whatever time. And what time do you need to be there? By 2, that's when check-in is. So I go back up to my room and
that's not bad.
I chill out, yeah. And then the guy picks me up, drives me around. The guy doesn't speak hardly any English at all. Which, I mean, whatever. I wouldn't expect every single person. But I was trying to be like, what's this? What's that? And then he was just like, I don't know how to tell you. I don't know how to. He was basically like, I don't know how to fucking tell you any of this stuff. So I'm just driving around, we're taking pictures, and it drives me to the tree house, which was a bamboo tree house with an outdoor shower. No wall. It was amazing.
Absolutely gorgeous.
I
was so jealous of it.
Ridiculous. $40 a night.
That's the life I want to live.
They were harvesting rice in the field next to me. So in the mornings I would just wake up and see people. I mean, they were doing a lot of really hard labor, but it was just amazing to watch.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how people, I was unfamiliar with the actual process. And so the guy that owned the property, came in, him and his wife would come and meet us for breakfast, and I would just talk, would tell me about, because he has a rice field as well, and we would just talk about
the process.
Oh, what things in life and what that's like, and so it was amazing. But when the guy, the cab driver, or the driver from the hotel goes to drop me off at the treehouse, there's no driveway.
Yeah.
There is a sign painted on the side of this dirt road that just says treehouse written on it, and an arrow.
This is it.
And then you just walk in. You have to carry your baggage in, but there's nobody there. There's whatever. And then I just that's gotta be it, right?
Yeah. That's where you're staying.
Right. Yeah. And then so the guy drops me off, and he's unsure. He's like, are you I don't know if this is, and I'm like, no, it's fine. That's the picture of the thing that I said that I was going to. There's no one, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not your problem. You just go. I'm not, I get it, but I'm not your problem. So I go in. It's amazing. It's beautiful. There's an outdoor kitchen. There's a separate building that's just it's just beautiful. I end up sitting out there a little bit.
That's the life I want to live.
and then yeah. So that was my day. I just chilled out. I was so exhausted and tired, and I wasn't
This is day
2. This is basically or my first kind of day, because I got there at midnight. Yeah, my first full day, and I just kind of chilled out and took a shower in this outdoor shower, and talked to this guy. His name is Guide, who built the bamboo treehouse. He's just some guy that lives in this small village, and he just figured out how to build this structure and built it. And the rocks from the shower, the entire outdoor shower is all these small stones glued into the walls.
Wow.
He went to the local river and collected the stones himself that were all similar in size, so he could glue them. And then there's flower patterns in it.
Wow.
It's just an amazing, beautiful, just a piece of work, a piece of art is what he has created here for us assholes that have too much money to come and stay. It is just spectacular.
Wonderful.
And just to hear him talk about he just designed it, and he just built it out, and Like it's all made of bamboo. Like it's just amazing. And he and his wife, like they'll come and like his wife would come and make me like an egg in the morning, and we would just chit chat and we would just talk about stuff. Like it was amazing.
That sounds so nice.
The only thing that I will say bad about them is that people don't walk around in Indonesia or in Bali. Like people don't. It's just not a thing. Everybody has a scooter.
Oh yeah.
Nobody has a car. Everybody has a scooter, right?
Yeah.
But there was this place. They were like, "What are you going to do tomorrow?" And I said, "Well, tomorrow I'm going to go to," and they're too nice, right? Because I was like, "I'm going to go to so and so temple and this other temple, and that's going to be my day, and I'm going to walk there because it's only 1.5 miles."
Yeah. Not
It's 1.5 miles. I don't have to rent a car. I'm just going to fucking walk there. It's 1.5 miles. There's no sidewalks. You're really walking on the side of like a road.
Taking your life into your hands.
Yes. And it's just not easy. It's not good. And it seemed like longer than 1 mile. Even though the MapQuest said 1.5 miles, it just seemed like
maybe not so much.
Like 17 miles. Like it seemed so far.
It's the never-ending walk to the temple.
And it was so hot. It was like a different kind of heat I've ever experienced.
We definitely have to talk about your sunburn.
It was so hot. And so, yeah. And so, but I asked them, like, can I walk? Is that reasonable? And they were like, it's fine, but if you would like assistance, we can help get you there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, no, if you say it's fine, it's fine. I should have just paid them like a fucking pennies. It would have been so cheap if I'd have just paid them to take me there. But anyway, so
you went on this pilgrimage to a temple.
Get up the next morning and I have my little outfit on and I'm walking the little backpack. I'm going to go walk to these 2 temples, and that was going to be my day. Similar with Costa Rica. I was going to do all my exertion during the day, early in the day, and then it's 2, 3 when it starts getting like super hot. Then I'll go back in. I'll take a shower. I'll kind of relax. Dinner. It'll be fine. Gosh, I think it's been a long time. It's not been a very long time on the walk, and I pass this. I'm passing a coffee plantation, and this lady just goes, "What are you doing?
Where are you going?
What is happening here?
Why are you walking?"
And I was like, "I'm going to so-and-so temple." And she goes, "No." She just says, "No, you come over here and I'm going to give you something to drink." And I just was like, I'm just going to do what she says. I'm just going to do exactly what this lady tells me to do. And so I go over and I go and talk to her, and she was like, "Okay, I'm going to take you in and I'm going to give you a tour of the plantation. I'm going to give you some coffee and I will take you wherever you need to go."
Oh.
But you're not going to walk. There's no way you're going to walk. There's no sidewalk. Like,
that's
it's just
so
not.
Sweet.
And I was like, okay. So I go in, and it's one of those plantations, and I don't know how. The more I've researched it a little bit since I came back, and I guess there's some animal issues. I eat meat though, so what am I going to do?
You're terrible.
So
You're terrible.
I'm a terrible human being. I went to this plantation.
How dare you eat meat?
I know. And it's the coffee that is. It's a coffee plantation. But they have all of those animals. They're called civets.
The cats?
No.
No.
They look kind of like cats, but they eat the berries.
Is this the poop
and
coffee?
They poop them out.
Yeah.
And then you drink the coffee.
Super fucking expensive. That coffee is super expensive.
Yeah, I have some in my cabinet.
Super fucking
and I drink some. I'm a fancy
bitch.
Lady. I'm a fancy bitch. Because I did buy some. It is.
Yeah.
It is not cheap.
It's like a cat poop. They're kind of like cats.
They look like cats.
Feline, I believe.
Yeah, and so that's the plantation. So I got to like pet one.
You fucking went to the cat poop plantation.
Yeah, and then because the lady was like, "Come over here, stop walking on the road," and I was like, "What?"
I'm struggling on the side of the road.
I'm fine. I really rethought it. Like some guy like just waved at me at one point. It was like, "Hello." Like the way he said it was even like, "What's happening?" And I was like,
"What are you doing?"
Yeah. It's like, "What's happening to you?"
Are you lost?
Yeah, like this crazy lady, and because there's no sidewalk, it was like it was dangerous, And
I'm like, it's kind of like the South. There aren't a whole lot of sidewalks in like Mississippi.
This is the least amount of sidewalks that I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the least.
Zero
this was
sidewalks.
It was
like the edge of a cliff and the jungle on one side with zero sidewalks.
Yeah.
I feel you.
And no rails, no nothing. I was like, I could just totally get like bumped by something and like fall off this thing. That's why this lady was like, "What's that? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know." And so yeah, I go in and she gives me the tour and she just shows me some shit. And she knew I wasn't really that interested because she was even like, "This is where they burn the stuff, and this is the thing that they pulverize it," and just like shows it to me. And I'm like, "Oh, just get to the coffee. I'm thirsty."
Or like, just give me some coffee.
Thirsty. And then so she sits me down and she gives me a flight of coffee. I order a cup of the civet poop coffee, and then which tastes like caramel. Like,
what does it taste like?
We can buy. We can brew some shortly.
Well, I may have to, or on bottle 3 of wine, so I might get a little before I go home. But did it weird you out at all that you were drinking coffee that had
came out of a
been
butthole?
Shit out of an animal? Like, did that pass through your mind at all?
Oh, yeah.
Just like,
I was like, I'm drinking poop
or were you just
coffee.
like, this is great coffee?
I'm drinking poop coffee. No, I completely thought about it happening. But then she gave me a flight. It was like 17 different...
The photo of that flight,
it was so many different kinds of coffee and tea.
It made my heart hurt how wonderful that looked. Like,
it was
I wanted to be there.
It was a lot.
You.
So I ended up buying a little bit of the poop coffee and some mangosteen peel tea, which was very good. Which I still have some mangosteen tea that you're welcome to.
I love tea.
So then she just goes, "Come on, let's go." After I bought it, and then just puts me on the back of a scooter.
Scoot.
Takes me to and then I realized as she's driving, I was like, this seems like a lot longer than a mile. Like, it just seemed like, it
was actually probably like a 10-mile walk.
So far. And then she drops me off, but what she does is she drops me off because I guess she knows people who work there. Mm-hmm. She drops me off at the service entry for the people who work there.
The back door.
At the temple.
Oh, nice. You have like VIP access to the temple.
But what I don't realize until I leave there is that I was supposed to have paid a bunch of money. But I came in at the back, and like I walk in, and you have to wrap yourself in a sari.
Yeah, like legs and shoulders.
Yeah,
right?
and my shoulders were covered already, but then I was like, I gotta wrap myself in. And so like I just walk in, and I kind of incorporate myself into a group.
Yeah.
And I don't realize
just join a tour.
Because I like walk in because no one's speaking English, and so they were just like, and they were just like, come over here, put this thing on, and I put the thing on, and then
you had an in,
and then I just like walk in, and then when I go to leave, I didn't pay. Like I didn't.
That's bad luck for years.
I'm an asshole.
That's a temple, man.
Right. So, but then I go through it, and it's like a thing that you can get into the water. Mm-hmm. It's a temple that you have like clarifying water or whatever. Yeah. And I wasn't going to do that anyway, so I just kind of like looked around, and then I went to leave. But the way that they make you leave is you have to, what I'm going to call running through the gauntlet, because it is it is just a winding passage of stalls for buying souvenirs, where every person is going, "Hey, hello, hey, $1, hey, you want this?" And I'm just like, I don't want any things. And I was just like, I don't want things. And I'm just like, it went on forever. And I talked to somebody later who was staying at like the other tree house, and I called it running the gauntlet. And he was like, exactly, because he had gone to the thing the day before and was like, holy shit, because you were just like, don't make eye contact, just go, bracelet, don't you want this? Like, I had this man come up to me and goes, as I was trying to walk, and he goes, oh, this bracelet, it costs $1. And I said, no, thank you, I'm not interested. Oh, come on, you want this? No, I don't want this.
I don't.
And like that exchange went on like probably 10 times to where I just go, sir, I do not want this.
I probably would just break down and be like, buy the fucking
I need
bracelet.
you to stop saying this, because he wouldn't. He just goes, Yeah, you do. No, I know. So I don't want. Yes,
Oh my
you do.
God.
Yes, you do. No, I don't want it. Like where I just kept getting so mad about like I don't want this fucking bauble. Like I don't. And I get it. It's your job and you're trying. But like just don't stand. Just don't follow.
Yeah,
don't follow me.
It's too much. Too much.
So after I said no, I don't know, 4 times. So then I try to go leave that place. And I don't have a cab. I don't have a car because like some lady dropped me off at the service center, right? But I'm not walking. Like my plan earlier was to walk, but I can't.
It's like 10 fucking miles.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't walk, but I want to go to this other temple. The one that I just left was like a 11th century water bath temple. So it was like beautiful and all this.
Yeah.
Great. Lots of people though. Lots of people were there, and so it was. I didn't stay for very long, and so I needed to go to like this other place that I was trying to get to. And so I was like walking around the parking lot trying to figure out like, is there a place that I can find somebody to take me somewhere? Because I mean, I can just walk.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like I could get a cab, but
hop
nothing
on the
made
back
any
of the
sense.
Scoot and be on your way.
So what I did was I just decided I'm just going to walk out the exit where all the cars are going. And then this guy's there at the window goes, wait, you need a cab or something. And I'm like, yeah, like he didn't say it like that, but he was like, you need. And I go, yeah, I need to get. And he's, where are you trying to go? And I showed him my phone where I was trying to go, and he goes, ah, and he just yells, and then some lady pops out of one of the stalls, and she just goes, ah, like does something, and then she just beckons to me to come over, and then she goes, how about X amount of dollars? And I go, sure, and I hand her, which was the equivalent.
You got to barter, man. That's like the culture, right?
Dude, it was like $1.50, that I was paying this lady at the end of the day. I'm like, yeah, sure, fine. So I give this lady his money, and then in U.S. dollar. It was very cheap, and I was like, fine. But then I get on her scooter, and then she just takes me, to this other place, and then I go to this other. It's like a funerary complex. It was like amazing, and it was beautiful. There was hardly anybody there. But as you're walking down these stairs to get to this, is a funerary complex from the 10th century that was like built, like carved into the side of these mountains, this wall.
Amazing.
With like this stream and waterfall that ran through the middle of it. So I just kind of sat there in it, and it was just like, it was great. But there were stalls going down.
Oh,
right. The stairs was there. That you had to come back up the stairs as you were like, oh, and they were steep ass stairs. So you're like, oh, I gotta stop.
Oh no, and then they just descend on you.
So some lady on the way down goes, ma'am, would you like a coconut water?
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Maybe on the way back. Because I was thinking, I'm going to be hot as shit. Like, it was hot as fuck, right? And so I go down and I do all my sightseeing, and I just kind of stay down there for a little while, and then I walk back up and I see this lady, and she goes, oh, you want your coconuts? And I said, you know what? I was thirsty. Yeah. So I was like, I'm almost out of water. I'll get my coconut. And it was like, she took a coconut and cut the top off and put a straw in it and gave it to me. And I was like, tasty. Okay, I'll pay for this. This is amazing.
It's an experience. Yeah.
But then she kept trying to sell me like coconut carvings. I bought the coconut carving that I showed you later was what I bought from her.
Beautiful.
Which, it was great, but she kept trying to sell me more and more like big items, and I get it. She was trying to sell me things, and I was like, I'm going to buy the coconut that I drank, the coconut water that I drank, but like I can't buy, I'm not buying big things. I have a backpack, you know, like I'm not, but I'll buy. And I can't remember what I ended up paying for. The thing that I bought the fan, and I bought like a tree carving, and I'm sure it was well over what local prices would be. So I ended up like, hoofing it back up the stairs, and the stairs were steep as shit. Like it was like steep ass, it was a lot.
Straight
so
up.
I'm like, hiking up these stairs, and I get to the very top, and there's another gauntlet of stores at the top. And I get probably like a block into it, and then I just realize like I just need a fucking ride back to the treehouse. So then I just go to this lady at a stall that's selling just like fabrics, and I go, I need a cab. I need like a taxi. Do you know? And she just yells something down the street. The next lady yells something down the street, and they're yelling it down. Some like old lady pops out like 4 blocks down and goes, It like yells something and beckons for me to come to her, and I go, all right. So then I like walk to this lady, and then I see her like banging on a door to get her husband, who apparently is asleep, to like wake up. And then some other lady is like moving shit from behind a van so she can pull out, where they just had like stored bags and baskets and just all kinds of shit. And like they're moving it out so he can pull me out. And then I barter with the lady, which I just feel bad about. Like she was like X amount of dollars, and I was like, that seems like a lot to go like a mile. Yeah. And she was like, well, what about this? And I just give her like $10 US or whatever, which I feel like is a decent amount for a fucking cab ride, but not that far. I was like, that's Uber. So I ended up giving her that, and then her husband like pulls out. And one thing I noticed is that I am way too big for most of the cars, and
the scoots.
Not the scoots. This is a real car.
Oh, this was a vehicle.
But like the seats don't go back far enough. So I'm 5'11".
Yeah.
I'm big. I'm a big person.
Built for tiny people.
Yes, it was built for tiny people, because when I tried to move the seat back as far as it would go, my legs were still bent. Oh. And so I was like, shit.
Up on the dashboard.
Yeah. So this guy takes me back to the treehouse.
If you're like me and you're just getting started with podcasting, it can be scary and overwhelming. That's why Anchor is such a great choice. It's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast, and best of all, it's free. It also has great creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Another great feature of Anchor is that they'll distribute your podcast for you. Your listeners will be able to access your podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many others. You can also make money from your podcast using Anchor, and that's with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place, and it's easy to use. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
So I get back to the treehouse, and I WhatsApp Guide, who is the owner of the property, and I say, can anybody take me to the north part of the island tomorrow? Like I need to get to the north beach. And then he goes, yeah, we'll take care of it. Great. What time? Well, I've got to check out of here at this time. Whatever time you want me to check out. Yeah. I have somebody to meet me. And he's like, we'll take care of it. His wife had also had a friend who is a masseuse.
Shit, yeah.
Who, so I came back from my visits from the two temples, sunburned as all hell.
AF.
And so I take my shower, and then at 6 o'clock, her friend is supposed to show up. His friend is supposed to show up to give me a deep tissue massage in the porch of the treehouse. The coolest part of that entire experience was not only was I kind of tired and sunburnt and whatever, is having some woman, I don't have any clothes on. I have my panties on, but that's it. And I have like my sari kind of laid over me as she's doing it. But there is a ceremony at that day. There's like a Hindu ceremony in Bali for, and I don't know the name of the deity, but it was for machines, and so kind of the blessings of like cars and machinery and kind of anything that's kind of a metal object.
Maximum overdrive.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But what was happening while this woman was giving me a massage on the porch of the treehouse in the middle of a rice field was I could hear from the local temple all of the drums and the chants.
Oh, that's nice.
That were happening at the time.
It was like
a fucking
relaxing
movie to hear, and like it was a deep tissue massage.
That sounds wonderful.
It was insane. It was insane. Like she finished, and I just went to sleep. Like I just was like, thank you, and I paid her, and then I walked up the stairs, and I just fell asleep, and I was just out. Like it was amazing.
So wonderful.
So the next day, I traveled from the middle of the island to my next Airbnb, which was a beachfront property on what I had never seen before in my life, on a volcanic black beach. Ooh. And so there was an active volcano on the north side of the island, and I went and stayed in this little area, this little beachfront community called Ahmed Beach, which is really kind of a place. There's a coral reef nearby, and it's really kind of it's kind of a sleepy little beachfront community that's for people that are like big into like snorkeling and scuba diving, nice. Which is not my thing.
Not mine either.
But it is
terrified of
small. Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. But I knew that it was kind of first of all, it's a black beach. Never been to one.
Beautiful. I'm sure.
Second, it was not touristy, but it was still had English speakers, so people in the area were still going to be, pretty.
Yeah, it was easy to navigate.
Yeah, it was easy to navigate. So I got dropped off, got to the place. They greeted me with which fruit drink would you like? Aww. Mango, watermelon, papaya, whatever. Yum. And I was just like, oh, well, this is wonderful. It was right on the beach. Mm-hmm. So, it was literally beachfront. Like it was.
Was this a tree house as well? Or
no, it was just a little. It actually had a master suite with a bathroom, like a full bathroom, and then an upstairs that had a couple of twin beds if you wanted to sleep. Okay. But I just rented that whole place out. It was like $50 a night or whatever. The weird thing about it that was kind of weird was that the shower didn't have a head on it. It was just a tube.
It's like a pipe?
It was just a pipe. And the...
with a solid stream of water?
Yes.
Okay.
And there was tile on the wall in the bathroom of Mickey and Minnie Mouse.
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay. A little strange.
And a little scene. But it was just a weird...
I suppose they were like, well, this is what American.
Yeah, this is what people like. They like Mickey and Minnie Mouse. So we got this tile. It's like 6 tiles or whatever. And it was just, it was just a little out of place.
Interesting.
Everything else was really great. They had like a full refrigerator that had, drinks and gave you hot tea and served you breakfast, and it was a full service. Yeah, and then there was beach chairs right out front. It was everything that you wanted.
Wonderful.
So I got there, and I think the first night I didn't do anything except for on the way from treehouse to the beach house, I realized that in Bali, first of all, Kentucky Fried Chicken is kind of fancy. In Hong Kong, Pizza Hut was kind of fancy. Was kind of the fancy place, and Outback. They were kind of fancy restaurants. And so I realized that Kentucky Fried Chicken, like I saw a 2-story glass Kentucky Fried Chicken.
She fancy.
Yeah,
she's real fancy.
So I'm like in the car and I go, what is that? And
KFC, baby.
The trip from the treehouse to the beach house, actually, when I was sitting and I was waiting for whoever was supposed to pick me up, I didn't realize that it was the actual owner of the property was going to take me. Mm-hmm. So he shows up and he goes, hey, how you doing? And I go, hey, how are you? And he goes, and we kind of sat there for a minute, and he goes, wait, are you ready? And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize you were taking me. I thought you found someone to take me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know it was you in particular. He was like, no, I don't have anything to do today. I'm like, fine. So like we see that. So it was kind of fun to just talk to him. We talked about politics and he was unaware because in Indonesia it is a requirement to vote. Oh. Everyone has to vote. He thought in the United States everyone was required to vote. So he just assumed we all loved Trump.
Oh, Jesus.
And I said, oh, no. Well, and I talked to him about, like, not everybody voting. And he was just like, wait, not everyone votes? And I was like, no, you don't have to if you don't want to. And he was like, what? Yeah, like, everyone has to. It's mandatory to vote.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Like, you have to vote. If you are of age, you have to vote. And so you know what everybody thinks. Isn't that weird? I think everybody should change my politics. Mandatory voting. You get fined or some shit. I don't know.
Mandatory voting sounds. Yeah. Maybe that would have turned out better for us. Who knows?
Probably not.
I know. I was like,
yeah, it'll probably still be bad.
We'll see.
So it was nice to spend like a couple of hours riding with somebody who was just interested in talking about like politics and the culture and the entire country and stuff. And so that was great. So anyway, I get to the beach house. Oh, sorry. As we're driving through all the towns, I realize, I see KFC, and then I see JFC. And I go, what is that? And he was like, well, that's Java fried chicken.
Wait, what was that?
Java
fried chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it looks like Kentucky Fried Chicken, except the man is not the Colonel.
Yeah.
It's just some other man in like a different kind of hat with no beard.
They've replaced the Colonel.
And I go, what is that? And he goes, well, it's Java fried chicken. And we kind of laughed. And I was like, that's funny. Like it's funny to me because I've never heard of that. And I'm from Kentucky, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Java fried chicken.
Then we pass a place that's, I don't know what it stands for, but it's AFC. And I go, what is that? And he goes, well, it's kind of like Kentucky Fried Chicken, but it's different. It's got a different flavor to the chicken.
So they have multiple versions of KFC.
They have AFC. They have BFC.
Okay.
They have JFC. And they have something called like ACK, which I don't really understand how it's related, but I talked to 2 different people, and they said, yeah, we have ACK. It was part of that suite.
Okay.
So when I go to the little beach town, there's a JFC.
And you're like, I've got to try this.
And I was like, I totally have to eat at JFC. So I got 2 chicken legs, a ball of rice,
yeah,
sweet tea. It was weird to be able to get that, but some sweet tea. And
did you feel like you were back in
Kentucky? I was like, oh, I'm in the South. And like 3 packets of ketchup for what? I don't know.
Your chicken and rice.
Chicken and rice.
Duh.
For like $1.50 US.
They know we love our ketchup.
And the funny thing was, when I told the Airbnb owner at the beach house, he stopped by in the morning when I got my breakfast on the porch at the beach.
Jesus.
Right? He goes, which was banana pancakes and a fruit plate.
Oh, delicious.
He goes, where did you eat last night? And I told him, and he goes, that's fast food. I was like, I know, but you don't understand why I had to eat there. Like I'd had to eat
I had to try
at JFC. I mean, come on. And he was still like, I don't get it. He was like, but there's so many like restaurants that are like Indonesian. I'm like, I know. Where do you recommend? And so he recommended a place for the next evening. And so I went and had some like fish or something and a banana juice, which is just a banana milkshake without milk. Yeah. So I kayaked at that place. Which is the funny thing.
Ocean?
Out into the ocean, into the Bali Sea.
Terrifying.
But the funny thing was, I got there and I told the kid that had brought me my breakfast. He said, "What are you going to do today?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to go down to so and so place. It's right down the street. And I'm going to go rent a kayak, and I'm going to kayak in the ocean for a couple hours." That was kind of my plan. That was going to be it. That's all I'm going to do. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to lay on the beach. And I'm going to get in the water and I'm going to read a book. And then I'm going to go get in the water. I'm going to read a book. And that's all I'm going to do all day.
Just going to hang out.
Yeah, I'm just going to hang out. But I'm going to go do some. I'm going to do a little bit of kayaking, a little bit of exercise, and then kind of kayak out into the water, as far as I'm comfortable. And he goes, "Oh, I need to take you." And I said, "Oh, well, the map just said that it's like right down the street. It's real close." He said, "No, you need a ride." And so I'm remembering
your temple adventure.
Yeah. And I go, well, holy shit, I need a ride. I absolutely need a ride.
Yeah.
This kid is probably 5'2", maybe.
Did you get to ride on a scoot with him?
100 pounds soaking wet. Just
tiny person.
The tiniest little person I'd ever been. Yeah.
You were just looming over.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was so small.
Aww.
So he goes, yeah. I've got to take you. No, it's not going to be a charge. It won't be anything. I'll just drop you off. You can't. You need.
That's nice.
It's too far. And I said, oh, okay. Oh, it's fine. You take me. I get ready, and then he comes to meet me, and he goes, I'll take you. Great. So we go, and we get on his fucking scooter. He gets on the scooter.
Tara, I have such an amazing visual in my mind, but I really wish there was photographic evidence of like you on the back of this tiny man's scoot, just like cruising along the beach.
So we get on the scooter at first is in sand. And so I get on this, he gets on the scooter. And it's a kind of a large scooter. And I get on the scooter. And I am very much larger than he is. And so when I get on, the scooter itself, like, you know, sinks down a little bit. And so when I get on it, he starts to take off, and we sunk into the sand a little bit, because it's like, and he just goes, "Oh, heavy." And I go, "Yes, I am not small." Because then I'm like, this kid that has speaking broken English doesn't realize it, like, because I don't want to be like, "Bitch, you don't say this to me right now. I will break you." I will crush you. I will break you with my fucking hands. Because I'm a strong ass fucking bitch. But I can't say all this to him.
You a tall ass bitch, but you alright?
Yeah, like, because I am twice as tall as you. Yes, I'm heavier than you. Fuck, man. But I can't say all these things because he doesn't mean it. He's just like, oh, like
we're too heavy to
because
move.
Yeah, like we're too. And he was like, and I go, yeah. And so like,
oh my god,
I kind of like put my feet on the ground to get, and then the tire comes off, and then like we take off.
My sides hurt.
And I was
so
like,
bad right now.
This is humiliating. He's so small.
No.
Like, Allie, I swear to God, like because where am I going to put my hands? I put them on his waist. But like, I felt like,
it was like
my fingers were going to touch. Do you know, like, he was so small, and I was like, why am I riding on the back of this guy's scooter? I'm a grown-ass woman. Like, what is happening?
Tiny man.
He's so small.
Oh, my God.
And then he goes to... And then the place that he goes to drop me is literally 500 fucking meters from where I don't...
You could have walked.
I could have walked. It was less than 500 meters. Like, it was so
But
close.
it was a free ride.
It was a free, humiliating ride. And so I was
you have
like...
to clutch that tiny man's waist. That's a perk, right?
No, it was not. I don't want to touch a tiny man's face. And so, like, it was not good. And so then I was like, okay, bye, you know, like, get up. When I get off. And then he's trying to talk to the guy that's like, oh, this lady needs, and I was like, you don't have to talk to him. I'm just going to tell him I need a kayak. Like, it's fine. You don't have to, like, take care of stuff for me.
I don't need your tiny body
you're
to
so
help
small.
me.
Like, I'm just so, like, I don't need you to tell me, like, how to fucking tell this guy I need a kayak for 2 hours. You know, I appreciate it. You can just get out of here. And then, but I'm trying not to give, like, Western world attitude to this guy who's just trying to be helpful.
Exactly.
Like, he's offended me on a level, like, I can't fucking handle. But he doesn't know it, you know? So I'm just like...
You're like, how do I turn this person away from me?
I need you to stop being in my presence.
Just turn away. Just turn away now.
Walk away from what's happening right now. I'm just going to get this fucking kayak and I'm going to go out into the sea.
You're like, I need to just paddle myself into the ocean.
Paddle out into the sunset. Because fuck you.
Oh, God.
Fuck you. Yeah, I know I'm bigger than you. So,
die.
So.
Oh my God.
He takes off, and anyway, I get my whatever, and I go out. It was amazing. I mean, I love kayaking. I got burnt again as hell. I put a lot of sunscreen on.
You're so fucking red, Tara. You were so fucking red.
I was so red. Yeah.
I have a question about the water.
Yes.
Was it super, super clear?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've seen pictures of, like, Bali where the water is just, like, crystal fucking clear. Like, beautiful blue.
It was really clear.
How it was?
Everywhere where I was in Ahmed Beach, there's all of these, there were lots of people, like, snorkeling and scuba diving where I was kayaking near. But I would just kind of stay away from them, but they could see you.
Slap them with your oar.
Yeah, I would just
Tell them to
murdered
get the fuck
a lot
away.
of people. But I could see not a lot of fish. I could see the coral, and I could see, you know, some of the fish that were bright because I didn't have like head, you know, literally, you know, I wasn't actually snorkeling, but I could see all these blue starfish, and I could see fish. You know, I could see a lot of things.
Nice, yeah.
And so it was nice.
Are you a fan of snorkeling?
I've never snorkeled.
Okay, neither have I.
I don't want to do that necessarily.
Okay.
I'm a little bit afraid.
Same.
I'm afraid of it enough that maybe
Same.
I could do it one day because I'm trying to overcome the fear. But I don't like the idea of breathing through a tube.
Same.
And something could fly or jump into
or
the
like
tube.
a wave comes over and it like gets
What do I
water into the
do?
tube. You gotta blow it back out.
But there's got to be water. Like I just don't
It's a thing.
understand the mechanics of it. And I just
there's
so many other things I can do on the
I
water.
understand. Like I'm completely there with you. Like
I signed up for a snorkeling tour one time with a group of people in Mexico when I was on a vacation with all of them. But every person that I was with, besides my husband at the time, was a seasoned scuba diver.
Oh,
so I was with a group
experienced.
of people who were all very like experienced scuba divers.
Okay.
And we were the only two people. Like we weren't doing scuba diving because myself and my husband were not scuba divers.
Yeah.
And so that was the compromise to do snorkeling. So I felt really comfortable with signing up for that. But when we got to Mexico, there was a big storm coming and the water was and so it was unsafe for us to go. So we didn't end up going.
It's definitely, those are two things I have on my list because I'm trying to knock off things that I'm like terrified
I'm
of
scared
doing.
of scuba diving.
But like scuba diving, I want to try snorkeling because I'm terrified of it. But I want to really do like snorkeling with manatees in Florida. Like how wonderful to just like be in like a bay somewhere snorkeling with these giant sea cows, gentle creatures kind of like cruising around you in like a calm area. I'm like, I think I could do that. I think I could do that type of snorkeling, but like snorkeling out in like the open ocean freaks me the fuck out.
I mean, the thing is that the water is so shallow in these areas that have these coral reefs. Mm-hmm. The water was same in Jamaica when I went kayaking out there. You can go out what seems like a really far distance, but it's never deep.
Yeah. I think I could do kayaking, but
kayaking was fun. I burnt the shit out of my fucking legs.
It creeps me out a little bit too, though. Like I don't know. Like
kayaking is fun.
I think it goes back to like the navigation thing. I'm like, what if I get out there too far and I don't know how to get back? I don't know.
Well,
it's like
you don't get so far you can't see.
But it's like a weird thing that's always in the back of my mind.
You're
it's
like well, the land's that way. You just keep
getting
going that
lost
way.
And not being able to navigate my way back. It's like always in the back of my mind.
But if you're ever kayaking and you kayak so far out that you can't see the land
lost.
you came from, you've done it wrong.
And you've gone too far. Turn around, find your way back. It's
not built for that. It's not like deep, like ocean, open ocean.
But I want to try it. I want to do like ocean kayaking because I've never done it before. So
I mean, I don't know what your definition of ocean kayaking is.
Oh, it's just like what you were doing.
Okay.
That's my definition of ocean kayaking.
I just went out. I mean, the land was still very obvious.
So you went kayaking in Bali on a black beach?
Bali Sea. Mm-hmm.
And then so after you went kayaking, you went back to where you were staying.
Yes, black sand is hot as fuck. It's like walking around on asphalt.
I imagine so.
So I didn't think that at first, and I was like, I'm gonna go, and I took my flip flops off and walked about 5 feet, and was like, my feet burned off.
They're melting.
Yeah, and then
we're having some cheese problems.
Some cheese malfunction. I just really didn't do a whole lot. I went and ate at a restaurant and just kind of chilled out. I just did a lot of. What was different from the Bali trip than the Costa Rica trip was that I just chilled out a lot. Yeah. And I just let myself it's nap time. I'm going to take a nap. Okay. I'm just going to, I'm not going to do this or I'm going to read. I just kind of relaxed as much as humanly possible. Did a lot of sleeping.
Just lay out in the sun. Mm-hmm. Burn for a little bit. Mm-hmm. Take a nap. Sounds wonderful.
Drink some tea. Be done with it. Yeah.
That sounds glorious.
So then I finished those days. And the same thing, I asked the Airbnb guys that I got to get to the north or the south side of the island for my final destination. And so he said, my cousin can take you. I'm like, okay. The funny thing was his cousin showed up to pick me up. Before we went to the car, he had to like stop by a phone place to put more minutes on his phone. And then he had to go by his house. And then we picked up his kid, which was like a 6-year-old.
You're just like running errands.
I'm like, yeah, essentially. I was like, okay, I was like, are we going to go? Are we going to? Okay, I'm not paying that much for this. So, but then the recommendation was that we stop by a couple of temples on the way down, which were on the way. And so I said, okay, let's just do that. That's fine. So then we stopped by a couple of places that were kind of like iconic. One place was like one of the 6 holiest places in Bali. And then like a nice kind of water palace that had like all these statues, and it was beautiful and amazing. And then we drove down to the southern part of the island. The last stint of my trip was the extravagant part of my trip.
Yes, you have like a fucking like a butler and shit. Like he was a real fancy lady.
Which was a beachfront, I guess it was a beachfront villa, but I didn't really care that it was beachfront because I had my own private infinity pool.
Jesus.
At the villa.
I think I saw pictures of this. I think you sent me pictures of it. And I was like,
sure, I sent you pictures of it.
It was how dare you?
Ridiculous. Like outside, there were like multiple chairs. There was like, they would, somebody would stop by a couple of times a day and ask me what I needed. That was just kind of on the house. It was beautiful. It was just beyond. It was it wasn't a large pool, but it was my own pool. I had
your
a
own
tea service.
Infinity pool.
Yeah, I wasn't with all the plebes. And the other plebes of the Hilton. I had my own lounge that I could go to and get breakfast. It was like private. It was away from everyone else.
Truly were a fancy lady.
I was a fancy lady. So I spent Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day there. The best thing about it too was I happened to be there during a solar eclipse. So on the 26th,
oh my god,
on my last day,
the stars literally aligned.
Yes,
while you were in Bali.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah,
what a cool experience.
Yeah, I didn't see a complete solar, but it was like 75%. So I was able to lay in the pool during it and watch the weird light that comes out of an eclipse and just soak in it.
How amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you spent this fucking solar eclipse lounging
in extravagance.
In an infinity pool.
Oh wait, I didn't talk about when I did get to the resort. Not only was it extravagant in terms of everything that they just gave me for free, and how beautiful the villa was, I did get, because I was sunburned.
So sunburned?
I was so sunburned.
She sent me pictures and I was like, fuck.
I was so sunburned.
Like,
and I don't get
lines on your face.
I don't get long-term sunburned. I'm usually one of those people that like get kind of sunburned and then like within hours like it goes away.
That
and I get a
tan. Off in my office life is breaking you.
I need to spend more time in Florida maybe. But so I was burned. So I got there and I go, oh. So when I checked into the hotel or into the villa, they asked me what I needed. And I said, well, you have a spa here, right? And they were like, yeah. And I said, okay, I need like a deep, like moisturizing, like whatever it is. It is like,
you're like, look at the skin, whatever you can do.
You see my face. I need like the most moisturizing massage. So they're like, okay, there's this whatever frangipia or I can't even remember what it's called. Flower massage, deep moisturizing. I'll do it. When can I do it? Can I do it today? And they're like, yes. Yeah. So they call down because that's how they do. Mm-hmm. Right? They're going to call down. They're going to make me an appointment. They're like, yeah, this time just go down there. I'm like, great. So I have to go down to the bottom of the entire. So where the villas were, there were villas at the top on the cliffs where we had all the breeze, so it was nice and cool. But the spa and everything was down where all the other people that were staying at the place,
plebes.
the plebes. So I had to like ride an elevator down all the way.
How inconvenient.
Yeah, it was very inconvenient. They did have little golf carts for us if we wanted to golf cart to places, and it was really close walking. And I was like, I'm not.
As a true fancy lady should.
I was like, I'm not going to get a golf cart to go 250 meters. Like, I'm just not going to do it. So I kind of walk down there, and I get on the elevator, and I go down, and I get there, and they give me tea, and like it's all really fancy. And this lady goes, "I'm gonna take you in, and I'm gonna give you the massage." I'm like, "It's great."
You're like, "Yeah, do whatever."
Yeah, touch whatever, touch it. And then the rest of the time, I legitimately just stayed in my villa. Yeah. And just like, the shower was amazing. I just relaxed. So the few days that I was in at the treehouse and at the northern beach, what I will say is the water didn't do me any favors on my hair or my skin. Yeah. And so probably I was kind of like a husk. I was a complete husk. So all I wanted to do was just like
hydrate, man.
Yeah, just be wet.
Yeah.
And rub myself with oils and get water. Because the water was just, I don't think it was like, there wasn't a lot of chlorine or anything. It might
just salt water.
Yeah. And I just drink tea, read books.
Just lounge.
I would get in the water, get out of the water, get in the water, get out of the water.
That sounds amazing.
And just be alone. I was just alone the whole time.
That's my ideal vacation. Yeah. All right. So, Tara, what would you say were the best parts of both Costa Rica and your trip to Bali?
Jesus. I mean,
to just like, high level summary.
High level?
Of the best parts.
Leadership summaries?
Yes, leadership bullets, please.
Right. Okay. Well, gosh, if I'm going to separate the two.
Yes. Best parts of Costa Rica.
The best parts of Costa Rica, I mean, the people were amazing. Mm-hmm. Everyone was just super helpful and super nice. Everyone was just helpful and nice and kind, and it was a nice.
They were bright. That's how I felt when I went to Puerto Rico. It was like the people here are so bright compared to what I'm used to in DC. Like your day-to-day interaction and like your random interactions were with people that were just happy to just be, it was lighter. It had a lighter vibe to it, for lack of a better word. Like I felt like that when I was in Puerto Rico for sure. Like it just was lighter.
I think in Costa Rica it was nice. I mean, there were so many beautiful, breathtaking places that I saw in Costa Rica. I'd never seen anything like it before, because I'd never seen jungles and I'd never seen, that landscape.
Swinging bridges.
It was just amazing. And for Bali, I mean, the same things. There are pictures that I have that it's like a movie. Like I never would have thought I would have seen something so breathtaking and beautiful. And again, the people there were so very nice, and I mean, I just enjoyed having conversations with like Guide, who was the property owner for the tree house, who we just sat, like we talked for hours, like on the trip. Like we never stopped talking about like what life was like in both places, and just sharing and learning and about each other. Yeah, it was so great.
It was kind of surreal, I imagine. Just being in that place and seeing the way of life and just experiencing kind of what their day to day normally is.
And talking, I mean, that was the reason that I didn't want to go to Bali and stay in resorts. So I really went like the Airbnb route in both places, because I don't want to go, and the last thing I want to fucking do is travel to Costa. Like I don't want to travel around the world and hang out with a bunch of fucking people from the United States.
Yeah.
Like, that is the last thing I want to do.
Yeah, you want to actually
I don't want to talk to a bunch of Australians either. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I will go to Australia
you don't want to get like a bar fight
if I
with
want to talk to Australians. Like, I just don't. And so, like, I wanted to be able to, as much as possible, to learn and talk to people who lived in
the locals.
Local folks that aren't just in and even when I was in the villa at the end of my stay, I talked to one of the guys that was always there in the afternoons when I would go get a mojito. I would have to get my Kafkin on. And I would have to go and I would walk over to the lounge and I would get my mojito and I would talk to the same guy every day. And on my last day, he was like, "Oh, it's your last day?" And I said, "Yeah, it is." And he was just asking me questions about like what it was like to live in the United States. And gosh, he asked me. I was able to tell him I'd been in the White House because I had been, you know. And like that was a big story. And he was asking me all kinds of questions. And like he was super excited about me being able to tell him about being in the White House, like. That's a you know, like, I mean, not every American that shows up has been
like
in the
super
White
exciting,
House, right? But I could tell him about like, oh, well, I went and saw this, and this was during the Obama administration, but what a treat to be able to like talk to him about that, and that was super fun to kind of meet and talk to people and share stories.
Tell me what the best part of traveling to Bali was.
I would say Bali, I mean, I really like, I took Southeast Asian religion. I was my minor was philosophy.
I didn't know that.
And in college. And so I took like some Southeast Asian religion classes. So I know a little bit about Hinduism, but Bali is it is out of all the Indonesian islands in Indonesia is 90 some odd percent Hindu versus Muslim, and so it has its distinct form from what the folks that I talk to who live there. I'm not a scholar on that, but who they have kind of their distinct kind of form of Hinduism, and it's very much ingrained. And so all of the houses, when we were driving my first trip. From the first hotel to my first to the treehouse, I asked the driver. I said, I don't think I've seen a house since we've been driving because all I see are temples.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh no, every house has a temple right up front.
Oh.
Every single house has a temple."
Whoa, really?
So I thought I was just passing
temples.
Yeah, like public, and I was just like, what is that? Like, what am I looking at?
I didn't know.
And he was
that.
like, no, these were. Every single house has one.
Oh.
And you pray every day, and they're very much ingrained, and it's very on the forefront, not even ingrained. It's just religion is on the forefront.
Yeah, it's a huge
of their
part
lifestyle.
of their culture. Yeah.
So that was really cool just to kind of experience that. And I really like the statues, and I don't know all of the deities, but I really like the iconography of Hinduism, at least in my experience from kind of other travels in Asia. And then again, when I was in Bali, it was just beautiful. Yeah. Overall, it was just a beautiful place to be.
So what was it like as a solo lady traveler? Like, what was that whole experience like for you, especially since this was the first time that you had traveled alone? I mean, I was terrified. I think I probably sent you some texts, especially for Costa Rica, like before I left. It was like, I'm a little bit more afraid of what's happening here than I expected myself to be before I got on the plane. There's a level of like fear and terror in some places that you're like, wait, am I being safe? Am I making the right decision? Different language, different culture, different, like everything.
But there's something about coming through on the other side, and we kind of talked a little bit, on some of these other conversations about these travels as being able to make decisions and just living with those decisions and kind of seeing them through. And I think coming out on the other side of the trip I felt very powerful. I felt like I can do that. And even sometimes during the trip, I would just be like, well, shit, I just figured all of this stuff out and it's fine. And not that I feel like in my daily life that I don't figure things out or that I don't have power.
Yeah, you're like,
I think that like going out there and just
doing it.
Feeling brave. Yeah, feeling braver than I thought that I was before.
Yeah.
It's putting myself in a different situation and like
being successful.
Everything was fine.
Yeah.
And everything was fine.
Yeah.
So I think there's a level of like thinking about how feeling brave, but then also thinking that I don't know how to say it.
It's like looking back and being like, I fucking did that. Like I did something that I never thought I would do ever in my life. And I fucking did it. And I did it well.
Well, and I think that it's to say that there's something that I thought I would be afraid of isn't insurmountable. And I can do, like, there are lots of things that, like,
you can do whatever.
So anything that falls into that category ever again, like, it's not a huge deal.
You went fucking skydiving last year. Like, you can literally do anything you fucking want to. I feel like if you can do skydiving, you can do anything. You could fucking swim with sharks.
I don't want to swim with sharks.
No, but you
That's
could.
scary.
You could if you wanted to.
I
you
could
fucking
if
could do
I
it.
wanted.
Like, you went skydiving. I feel like that's one of the most dangerous things you could ever do in your life.
Yeah.
Skydiving, Tara.
But lots of people do it. I'm not exemplary for having done it.
Like, I don't think you should minimize the fact that you went skydiving. Like, you were just like...
I mean, I was scared.
You're
I
like,
did it.
I'm a fucking do it. And you did it. Like, it's a huge deal. Like, I think it's a huge deal. So, you obviously did a lot of traveling during 2019, not only within the United States, but also internationally. So, do you have any plans to travel internationally in 2020?
I haven't really set the plans. I had a group of friends. We were trying to figure out an international trip that we were trying to do, but somehow we ended up talking about Utah because none of us have been to Utah.
So it's the black hole of the United States, like
to Zion National Park in Utah.
Oh, that could be really fun though. You can go like fucking whitewater rafting.
Right.
Like there's
so
some shit to do
somehow
in
we
Utah.
were like the Caribbean or this island or this island or this island, and like people were coming. It's a group of people coming from all over the country. So not everybody has like access to like a great set of airports like I do.
Yeah.
And then someone had mentioned Zion, and I was like, I've never been to Utah. I don't fucking go to Utah. So that international trip has kind of gotten derailed into a Utah trip. Which I'm kind of fine with it because it's just weird enough, and I like the people that we're trying to plan.
Utah could be really fucking fun. So what are some tips you would give to individuals that are looking to do solo trips, either within the United States or internationally?
I would just say don't be afraid to do it. I would do a little bit of research. I mean, don't just choose. I mean, think about it, especially for women. Think about the country that you're going to go to.
Yeah.
Or do a little bit of online research for places that are safe for you.
Yeah.
Not every country is a safe place for you to travel by yourself. Think through that. I just say just go for it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Like
I mean, if you're scared of going too far, go find a place that just speaks English and go to London.
Yeah. Or Scotland, or somewhere
easy.
UK,
go to Montreal.
Traveling alone is always a challenge.
Yeah, traveling alone is always a challenge, no matter wherever your comfort zone sits. But I mean,
did you feel?
Do you want to live in fear and not go to a place? It's not that scary.
Start with the plane ticket, buy the ticket, and then plan out.
Well, that's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did. I just bought a ticket, and then it gave me the parameters. I found the ticket price that made the most sense for the general dates that I needed, and then after that, I found Airbnbs, and I mean, you can always find hotels. That's easy. But Airbnbs are always cheaper and just much more interesting. just go do it. Or if you're scared to do an overseas trip by yourself, just go do a domestic trip, and just go to a city that you're unfamiliar with, and then figure it out, and you'll realize that you can figure lots of things out.
There you have it. Thanks as always for listening to this week's episode. Be sure to tune in for the next one. And if you are looking for some entertainment or you're bored, I highly recommend going back and listening to some of our previous episodes. You can follow the Fun with Friends podcast on Instagram at Fun with Friends Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at FunFriendsPod1. We are also on Facebook. You can listen to the podcast on Anchor FM, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. As always, please like, rate, and review, and be sure to tell your friends about the podcast and get the word out there about it. And as always, my friends, go out there, try something new, and have some fucking fun. Bye!